You're such an asshole.
How you doing, kids? All right, we have an interesting question, and finally catching up with A-Hole Consulting. This guy was very kind and patient. Aaron, do you offer a good resource to learn basic accounting, being able to understand and speak intelligently about such things as income statements or profit and loss statements? Those are the same thing. Will help boost my career. I don't think it's worth getting an MBA. I don't think it's worth it either. I already have a mechanical engineering degree and understand math very well. Thanks again for your time and what you do. About me, 34-year-old male mechanical engineer. You recently did a video titled Apply to Jobs and Reference Josh Fluke based on my request. So, all right. So, the paradox I face is that I already have my background. I went to school for finance and accounting. A lot of finance is accounting. So I wouldn't know, like, for non-accounting majors, what do you do? And we could talk about, and I'm going to recommend, like, look up classes, accounting for non-accounting majors. Coursera, edX, other places, Khan's Academy, and like they have accounting classes. You could certainly do that. And I have linked below. I found my old analysis evaluation of stocks class. You said, well, that's analyzing valuing stocks. Yes, but that takes you through the main financial statements. Unfortunately, though, that's $180. I don't teach it anymore. I used to. It's through a company called Ed2Go. But here's the main thing that I'm going to tell all you engineers, all you non-accounting types, like, well, I'm going to get into management. Where do I learn accounting, right? What you want to do is get two things. One, the actual skill to read and interpret financial statements. So you could get an income statement or an equity statement, look at it and know what it says. But then also you're going to need some kind of credential or certification that you could put on your resume. You can't just say, I mean, you could, I guess you could put it on your resume saying self-study. But what I would do is I would absolutely not get an MBA. I would, unless they're going to pay for it and pay for your time, but I'd avoid that. But I would find some kind of, what do they call it? Program's not the right word. Module offered through Coursera, offered through MIT, offered through, and maybe you even pay for it. I would say find a free school, a free program that teaches you the basics, or go to a weekend seminar, or go to a month-long program. Some attach it, ideally not paying for it, but if you have to, it's convenient, fine. But something where there's a name that's recognizable: Coursera, Khan's Academy, MIT, free, and it teaches you how to read financial statements. All right. So that's the goal. That's what you're aiming for. Now, where the confusion will come in, there are essentially two parts of accounting. There is the financial statements, all right, and being able to read them and interpret them. But then there's the compilation of financial statements. And that's the mind-numbing, boring accounting process. For all engineers or people who have a career in one field, and you say, boy, I better learn some accounting, you do not need to learn what's called the accounting cycle or the accounting process. That is how you take receipts and bank statements and expenses and numbers, you put them into a general ledger, and then you organize them while also balancing them out to result in the final product that is your three main financial statements, which is your income statement, that's also called a profit and loss, your balance sheet, and then your cash flow statement. Some people would say there's the statement of equity, which is a fourth one, and it is, but it's not as important. And I'd say in order of importance, it would be your income statement, your balance sheet, and your cash flow, right? Your statement of equity, if you're going to get into mergers and acquisitions, if you got to analyze the how much equity has been being built up, who owns the company, you got to worry about that. But basically, the income statement or profit and loss, how much money does the company make or lose? The balance sheet, what kind of financial position is the company in? And then the cash flow statement, which is, how could I interpret that? Because of non-cash expenses, not to bore you, your income statement doesn't actually translate into the amount of added cash that came into the company. The cash flow statement measures that. And you'll definitely want to get familiar with the cash flow statement in terms of cash flow from operations. There's three parts to it. So these are the three ones you would have to learn: income statement, balance sheet, and then your cash flow statement, of which the three subcategories are your cash flow from operations, which is, I would call, your true profit, backing out things like depreciation, amortization. Cash flow from investing or for investing, that's where you're investing or liquidating your investments. And the cash flow from finance, whatever happened in the other two, we either had added money that we paid down our debts or paid equity out to shareholders or whatever, or we had to go raise more funds from investors, whether that's shareholders or borrowing it from the banks. And that's very important as well. I don't think as an engineer, though, you're going to run into that. That's more corporate management. That's like top level CFO, CEO stuff. So for you as an engineer, number one thing, income statement. Balance sheet, I don't even think you're going to run into it. But basically, is this company or is this division or is this project profitable? And everyone intuitively knows what a balance sheet and income statement is, because you all fill out your taxes, right? You all do your own taxes, right? You don't hire Chad Elgas, do you? You know how your taxes work, right? But it's very simple. It's just, how much money did I take in? What are my expenses? How much money do I have left over? Except instead of things like, I don't know, internet access, health insurance, things like that, companies have raw material expense, selling general administrative, insurance, employees, all that other kind of stuff, taxes at the bottom. Balance sheet, you're also familiar with it intuitively, because all you do is you list your assets and you list your debts. That's a balance sheet. So you know how to do that for yourself. It'd be the same thing for a company. So I'm trying to make it so it's not as intimidating. You already intuitively know how these things work. What it really is learning the vocabulary. Now, quickest way to do that, like I said, some kind of class that teaches you financial statement analysis, not the accounting cycle. You're not going to do debits and credits. You're not entering data into the general ledger. You're not closing out T accounts. That's not you. You're going to be doing more top-down managerial stuff. So you need to learn, it's what you really want to learn is financial statement analysis. And here's the thing, not to brag, but the class, the analysis evaluation of stocks offered by Ed2Go or Education to Go, if that's still my original course, that is the best product on the market, in my opinion, to teach you that specific thing, how to interpret and read financial statements. Now, I don't know who's teaching it. I don't know if they've changed the curriculum and the PowerPoint presentation and the data. I really don't know. But if it was what I did, gosh, 20 years ago, 21 years ago, when I put that together, that is some of the most outstanding, if I do say so myself, the most outstanding get to it type of thing. The risk, I looked it up, it's $180. But that'll get you there. Then it'll also, quote, give you the piece of paper like I took this course. But I don't know if Ed2Go is a well enough known company that people are like, oh, yeah. Maybe you put it in continuing education, then put it in there and put the title, the analysis and valuation of stocks. But honestly, I would kind of do a little bit of searching around with Coursera, Khan's Academy, some kind of place that's well known, has a brand name or a more recognizable name. And I would just take your classes for free. But the key thing to save you the time is do not learn the accounting cycle. Learn how to read financial statements. So you should look for something like financial statement analysis or how to read financial statements. Now, to get the basic and the direct dope, I would just go on YouTube and find how to read financial statements. You can get a book on it too, I'm sure, how to read financial statements. There's got to be something in the library. So you know you're going income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. But what I'm afraid of is they're going to somehow like, let's talk about the accounting cycle and double entry bookkeeping and how two Italian monks came up with this idea. It's like, no, you ain't got time for that. So that's what you want, is the financial statement analysis. So to just get it down so you understand it, like a book, some YouTube videos, something just so you intuitively know, Then knowing what you need to know, like, oh yeah, I need to learn what is cost of goods sold? How does FIFO, LIFO inventory work? What is a non-cash expense? How does depreciation and amortization work? What's the difference? Expensing versus capitalizing. And if you get to that level, expensing versus capitalizing your expenses, I think that's as far as you need to go. Then once you kind of like intuitively know, boom, then you can go ahead and start choosing some courses. So assuming the course is still the same material, the analysis evaluation of stocks over at Ed2Go, I would say, is the foremost, because I know, I'm not saying it's the best accounting course ever, but I know the material in there, and that directly addresses what you want. May not have the cachet that you want, but otherwise I'd be going online. I did look up, like there's Coursera. Coursera. There's a list of accounting courses here. Introduction to Finance and Accounting. You don't want Intuit Bookkeeping. Fundamentals of Accounting. Financial Accounting Fundamentals. Let me type in financial statements. Type in financial statement. Financial statement analysis right here. Yeah, and you'll learn things like ratio calculations. Advanced financial accounting for business combination and preparation of consolidation. You don't want that. Understanding financial statements. Boom. There it is. University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Yeah, it says beginner. Here's another one. Intuit. Financial statement analysis. That's what you want. That's what you want. And then you take that. You say, I took it through Coursera. University. You could even say University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Financial statement analysis. There it is. And without you, I mean, that would take, really, I'm not kidding. It's not that hard to figure out the income statements and financial statements. It would take you maybe 2 days of serious study. And then you go pull, what you could do just for, and you know what, you might as well do this. In the meantime, do this. This is something you can do. God almighty, I wonder if they even make it anymore. What I would do is see if you can order the old school annual report from whatever your favorite company is. Don't do a finance company. Whatever you don't do a bank or a finance company. Their financial statements are all messed up. But let's say you really like GameStop. All right, go see if you can order their annual report. You don't need the 10K. That's the advanced annual report. Although I guess if you want it, you could get the 10K. Chances are they don't issue those anymore because it costs money. So you're going to have to download the annual report from their investor relations website. So take whatever company you like, find their investor relations site, download the PDF, and you're going to want the annual report. Now, there's a billion freaking filings, and they all list them on there, and no investor relations site does it very easily. And they'll do PowerPoint presentations and, oh, here's our carbon footprint report. Here's what we did to help out women and minorities. You're like, oh my God, dude, I just want the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. So you're going to have to sift through all the marketing BS to get there. All right. But you either get the 10K, or ideally the annual report. Very likely you're going to have to download the PDF because that's all they're going to want. But if they will mail you the annual report, I would get that. Now, also remember, you don't care about all the propaganda and marketing. In the end, the annual report is going to be, there's numbers in it, but it's a marketing shtick. And to be perfectly honest, the annual report, well, because we're year end now, that would be a germane and relevant report. But if it's a year or two old, it's irrelevant. It's outdated. All right. And you'll open up the annual report and you're going to see pictures and flowers. And oh my God, you're going to see the diversity rainbow because every company's now like, see, we so woke. We care about the minorities. Buy our product. Skip all through that. And then you get to the statement of financial condition. There's a what's it called? A table of contents. You skip out of all the crap, how they're helping the environment and how their products are saving the world and revenue. You skip all of that. And you go to what should be the income statement, which is the first financial statement that they usually list. And then you're like, oh, they're not changing the world. They're losing money. You see, and really like 70% of the annual report is all BS. You don't care about it. And right there, you're an engineer. You're smart enough. You can look through it You're like, oh yeah, okay, sales. That's the total amount they took in, or revenue. And it's not Chinese. Cost of goods sold. That's your raw materials. All right, selling. There's your marketing expense. What else is common? Insurance, labor, research and development. If they're like 3M has research and development, advertising, Karen and HR, lawsuits, all the other things that comes with hiring Karen and HR. Taxes, interest expense, and at the bottom there it is. Balance sheet. You could figure the same thing. Here's your assets. Here's our short-term liabilities. There's our long-term liabilities. Here's our equity. That's all it really is. And so you would intuitively, just sitting down for 15, 20 minutes, be able to figure it out, have a conceptual idea. And then financial statement analysis is going to do you two things. It's going to teach you the terms of all your different common types of expenses and categories. So when you read like, oh, 8 billion, and what is I'm trying to think of something that'd be a little bit more obscure. What is accounts receivable? All right. Well, how does that work? All right. Then you'll learn about that. And then the other thing is you'll probably learn ratio analysis, where you take different numbers within your financial statements and you either divide or multiply by, you compare them to one another. I'll give you a perfect example: return on assets. The company has 5 billion in assets. You take the profit that year, let's say it was $1 billion in profit, you divide it by 5 billion, you get 20%, meaning the 5 billion in assets produced 1 billion in profits. That's a really good return on assets, though, by the way. And so you're kind of like, oh, I see. 20%. So if I gave if I had this company, I bought these 5 billion of assets, the operations, the product excels would give me 20% a year. Oh, that's pretty good. Five years go by, I got all my money back. All right. Debt, you take that liabilities to assets. What are my total liabilities divided by my assets? How much, do you have no debt? Kind of like, I think Apple and Microsoft, they used to have no debt. Are you Thaddeus and Tina in the suburbs? We have a $750,000 house. Yeah, but you took a home equity line out of it 3 times, and you have a mortgage of $820,000. Your liabilities to assets is like 120%. You're insolvent. You're borderline bankrupt. So it's stuff like that. So comparing those financial ratios is what it is. And so I think that's what you get here with the financial statement analysis courses. And then you just say Coursera, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, boom. And then I think in today's world, I'm hoping more of Gen Xers get in there, and I'm hoping some more millennials get in there. We're like, you don't need an MBA. Oh, you know how to read financials? Hey, look, Frank over here knows how to read financial statements. What does that mean, Frank? Well, I'll translate the Cantonese for you. It means this company that wants us to pay $8 billion for them, yeah, are lying sacks of filth because they have no money. They lost all their money. They keep borrowing money. They have a horrible Dun & Bradstreet rating. And they're Theranos. That's the name of this company, Theranos. But yeah, if those if you take those courses through Coursera or wherever you find them for free and you still don't get it, it might be worth, for your own personal understanding, take my course, because I did an outstanding job. I was good. I was good when I was younger. All right. Any super chats? Public nuisance, $2. What are your thoughts on Canadian trucker thing? I haven't paid attention to it. I'm glad they're shutting down the Parasitic East. What's his name? The trust fund baby is just worthless, but that's what you guys have. You guys, a plurality of them elected him in. And soon you're going to see people who work hard just give up. They're not going to. You cannot push hardworking regular people that far. And I mean, you already tax them unfairly, especially in Canada. And now you're going to like, oh no, you can't do your job. All right, screw you. I don't know why the truckers, I can understand why I like how they drove all the way to Ottawa and shut it down. I like that. Make them suffer. I got that. But you don't have to leave your house to do that. All you had to do is like, no, we're not trucking. Just go on a strike. I mean, it's better you've caused them traffic jams and their supplies aren't getting in. That's good, especially during winter. But just I wouldn't be working. I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't pay him. I'd be like, nope, bank, too bad. You know, you got to repossess my truck. I'm done. I'm going on welfare. And all the parasites in Eastern Canada, but I repeat myself, they're like, where's the food? There's no electricity or energy. It's cold. Public nuisance too. Have you seen Cobra Kai? You remind me of Johnny. Yes, I have not seen it. No. People have said I'd like it because of Johnny, who's like, all right, punch him in the face. I just don't have time. Jimmy in Dallas, 750. Hey, Cappy, how did you get into ballroom dancing? Story time with Uncle Aaron. I just want to get laid. That was it. I will admit I did have a desire and a penchant for that era of America. You know, what would it be? Late 20s to early 50s, where people would dress up and not the flappers. I never liked the flappers. But you know, people dressed nice, and the music was phenomenal, and swing dancing looked like it was a lot of fun, and it was. And then, like a very close second was you get tail. I was more the late 50s Peter Gunn, early 60s Rat Pack, Martini, sitting in a jazz club and lounge and that kind of thing. But yeah, I could do the Charleston. I could do the ragtime shag. Yeah, that's how I got in there. And then everyone went away, and then there weren't any cute girls, and I got sick of it. I so rarely dance anymore. I think that's it. That's it. Boom. See you guys later. Toodles.